in the summer on their Richest Hills project, and I really didn't know a great deal about Library of Congress, except that the people that work with Michelle out of Colorado are these fine people, and I had the pleasure of spending a week with Michelle, and she talked a lot about Library of Congress and its benefits. And when I got home, I had an assignment from Martha, of course, like you all did, to dig in and take a look at all these resources and see just what was available. And of course, it blew my mind, because I had spent the last 3 or 4 years in trying to expand my little literature units, running around like a whirling dervish. And here was the Library of Congress site, where I could pick up about 3/4 of what I dug and ferreted out, taking 2 and 3 months for each unit to try and get the materials that I really needed to bring alive the literature for these kids. And so I'm really happy to be here, because I can be give a testimony to the Library of Congress and its ability to make things easier for teachers like myself, who really dig into a project and don't just teach the literature, but teach the time and the essence. I have the capability, because of the freedoms I have within my classroom, to almost do a humanities-based literature study, and I take advantage of it. And one of the examples I want to show you today is a project that I started, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. I've lost track of time because I'm old, and every year seems just a little bit different. It was 5 years ago. Okay, Darlene and Carolyn were with me when I first started this project, and I had this big dream that I was going to do a USO night at Fort Missoula based on a couple of novels that I wanted to teach. And through the help of the community and a ton of people all over, it happened. And it was really an incredible moment for a lot of people, especially my students. And I think it was the first time that I really realized that place-based learning was a really great idea. And of course, you know that we're going to travel out to Fort Missoula, and we're going to see some of the things that are there. I have the ability to do that any day that I can find enough bus money or get the mountain line to come by and pick us up. So I had that added benefit of being able to go out there and take my kids. And a lot of the kids and a lot of our community didn't know that this was the site for a justice camp. And though what we study is actually internment camps, and World War II, the home front was kind of the gist of my studies for my kids. This was a justice camp, so it was a little bit different in that there weren't families here, and it was maybe a more friendly camp. And so it's a little bit lighter weight, but still the seriousness of the whole issue we could bring alive by going on site. And of course, Darla and Darla, I still want to call you Darla. Doreen. Darla used to be there in her position many years ago. But anyway, they helped me arrange field trips, and we went through the sites. And it's expanded greatly. I'm really anxious to go back and see what changes have been made, because Diane Sands and a lot of the people at Fort Missoula have changed it up a lot. But my kids took 2 books. They took Human Comedy, and that's an old William Saroyan book that's based in Fresno, California during war years. Beautiful little book, and it can be taught individually in little vignettes, or you can read the whole book. And then also a new piece called Thin Wood Walls, written by a guy out of Seattle, who wrote about a family whose father was interned at Fort Missoula. He was a leader in the community in Seattle, and he was considered a threat after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and so he was shipped to Fort Missoula. And so we're dealing directly with the subject at hand when we read the book, and we're visiting the site, and we can kind of envision those things. I want to show you, first of all, a little film that one of my students did that is an example of how I let kids take the literature and the experience and then just kind of develop a project themselves. Do you want me to close this? Yes.
You're up top.
In documents?
No, go over. You're right on the desktop. Go over here. Over.
I'm gonna let you do it. Oh, I see, over here.
That's the PowerPoint. And this.
Okay. Hold on first. And of course, there's no sound.
Together. Sit on the head.